but straight to the point, factual and fearless.
Charlie, no be joke. The pressure people like Johnnie can give you.
No.
You no get grey hair, you go get grey hair.
I'm innocent.
And that's what I'm saying. That the pressure Johnnie and his people, the pressure they can give you no get grey hair, you go get. So your best bet is not to have hair.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. And surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. Good morning. We have been told that the Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Bawumia, will be speaking to the nation under the banner of a party wing of the New Patriotic Party. Well, I have raised concerns about the fact that if we want to, for example, now the clarity is there, but if we, for example, are holding meet the press, we are talking about issues of the state and state officials will have to speak, we must as much as possible dichotomize it and take away the party coloration. So where the banner itself comes up, the flyer comes up, and there's the party colors in it, it doesn't engender that kind of national confidence. That's just by the side. But this morning, I want to speak specifically to the Vice President of the Republic, and I say, Dr. Bawumia, dear Dr. Bawumia, good morning to you. Mubarak, Ramadan Mubarak to you and to your family. I trust you are happy and healthy this morning. Well, I am greater than Accra, Dr. Bawumia. The announcement that you're billed to speak on the economy today has been welcomed by some Ghanaians, but with a pinch of salt. I'm sure you know why I said. They welcomed it, but it was with a pinch of salt. So, first of all, Ghanaians are happy that you chose to speak about your main office, the head of the economic management team, and your KPI, your key performance indicators, in the holy month of Ramadan, where truth is most required of all devout Muslims. So they expect the truth. But the truth of the matter is this: your name is not sweet on the tongues of the voices on the streets. They say you have been making misleading statements and peddling falsehood. Please, sir, put them to shame today. Speak the truth, Dr. Bawumia, and shame the devil. Again, Ghanaians say the numerous promises you either made on your own accord or on behalf of the NPP government, or by extension the party, have not been fulfilled. There are a few of the promises I'd like to remind you of, Mr. Vice President. You had mentioned, for example, the rent allowance. You had mentioned, for example, that you were going to turn the economy around in record time. You had mentioned, for example, that you were going to do things to make the lives of the people easier. But Dr. Bawumia, Ghanaians say you have said enough about IT to the detriment of the economy, and that in the coming days you should be very present and punctual in speaking to them about the falling cedi, the cutthroat cost of living, fuel prices, rent, etc. Now, here is President Akufo-Addo praising you exactly 1 year after you had gotten into power in 2017. Listen to President Akufo-Addo.
After a year in office, it would be fair to ask what frustrations and regrets, if any, that I have. My answer would be, I wish we had been able to do certain things much faster and the entire government machinery move more quickly, because, as I said, I'm in a hurry. For those who continue to be obsessed by the size of my government, let me, with due deference to the chairperson of the economic management team, my brilliant vice president, cite from his speech 2 days ago at Lagos at the opening of the New Year's school. And I quote, "The question that we should ask is how can you inherit a budget deficit of 9.3% of GDP, proceed to reduce taxes, bring down inflation, bring down interest rates, increase economic growth from 3.6% to 7.9%, increase your international reserves, maintain relative exchange rate stability, reduce the debt to GDP ratio and the rate of debt accumulation, pay almost half of arrears inherited, stay current on obligations to statutory funds, restore teacher and nursing training allowances, double the capitation grant, implement free senior high school education, and yet still be able to reduce the fiscal deficit from 9.3% to an estimated 5.6% of GDP. Quite simple. This is a remarkable achievement, and this is what we mean by competent economic management, unquote.
That's the President of the Republic praising you, Dr. Bawumia. But you know what Ghanaians are saying today? They say you should leave the digitalization and digitization agenda to the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization because Esla Osuo-Akufo and the deputies are competent enough. They're asking you to focus on your role as the head of the economic management team. And you see, the president praised you because if you haven't finished your work, you cannot be seen to be doing the work of another person. It's like you're in an exam hall, you've been giving your own set of questions, and you're answering people's questions. So, for example, the litany of people you mentioned that are suffering in 2016, Danny, get that video ready for me. Ghanaians are suffering at the Trade Fair Center, are all still suffering. So they sent me this morning to give you a reminder ahead of your speech today, Dr. Bawumia.
IMF, in its recent review of the Ghanaian economy, has warned that Ghana is on the cusp of a financial and economic crisis. Notwithstanding this abysmal record, President John Mahama is actually asking Ghanaians where the economic crisis is. He is clearly out of touch. Mr. President, the economic crisis is everywhere. Care to look outside of Flagstaff House, of course. Teachers are suffering. Teacher trainees are suffering. Nurses are suffering. And nursing trainees are suffering. Patients are suffering. Students are suffering. Traders are suffering. Pensioners are suffering. Drivers are suffering. Contractors are suffering. Civil servants are suffering. And farmers are suffering. Fishermen are suffering. And industries are suffering. Artisans are suffering. And Kayaye are suffering. The disabled are suffering. And men are suffering. Women are suffering. And children are suffering. And Ghanaians are suffering.
All these people, Dr. Bawumia, are still suffering under your watch. But Doc, did your boss, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, not say that you worked at the Bank of Ghana and you knew where the money is? Yet isekasu nanso accommodating. Please release the cash. Why? Doc, you promised that every household would not have a water toilet problem after 18 months. But after 64 months in power, when the promises were meant for just 18 months, we know they see the show. Doc, what happened? Sir, Ghanaians are suggesting that you still haven't told them how the cedi broke sales and why it is dancing all manner of sorts before the dollar, the pound, and the euro. They want to know if the fundamentals are still weak or they are stronger now, perhaps. Because the way the exchange rate is there, it looks like an expose, Bosu. Dr. Bawumia, please, is your fantastic economic management team still intact? Here's a reminder of who they are. Can you play the video for them?
I look at the economic management team. It is quite clearly a fantastic team. Professor Jambafo, Dr. Akotose, Dr. Afriye Akoto, Honorable Alan Chiramanting, Boachi Ejaku, Ken Oforiata, Senior Minister Yao Osafo Mafu. What a solid team. In fact, can anyone remember the NDC economic management team?
Doc, your economic management team is still at play. Now, Danny, play for me the video of the president reminding us of Yetisikaso Nanso accommodating, because now everybody is complaining, including even people within the fraternity of the New Patriotic Party who are supposed to be in government. They are joining us in the chorus to complain. And I'm reminded of recent complaints by the president about how expensive houses have become, when indeed he promised to give us free accommodation or accommodation rent allowance. Play that video for me, Danny.
Ghana. It is Sikaso, Omenyo Hiamai. Nenam Amemua Enkoyetino. A come there. I am a boy, Ghana. It is Sikaso, Omenyo Hiamai. Nenam Amemua Enkoyetino. A come there.
Now, Doc, I find it worrying and disturbing at once, the rate and the speed at which you and your boss, Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, are fact-checked heavily each time you both speak. It's not nice, crowd. It's not nice. Ghanaians say they don't know if the problem is you or your boss, or whether the problem is from the people around you, your team members. You remember the results fair town hall meeting. You remember delivery.gov.gh, the website that was pulled down at some point temporarily because people had fact-checked ahead of the election 2020. Remember the 71 achievements you had listed under the banner of the hashtag Fixing It, when the shameless Fix Yourself campaign failed to drown the Fix the Country agenda. Remember your recent Bawumia Speak series at Ashesi University. I pray today will be totally different, sir. Let nobody fact check you. So, Doc, speak the truth and shame the devil. Dr. Bawumia, please, where are the concrete roads you promised that you would replace the asphaltic roads with? Are they part of the 10,885 kilometers of fact-checked and not being verified figures the president quoted in Parliament under the State of Nation address and asked people to open their eyes? Dr. Bawumia, today, speak the truth and shame the devil. That even reminds me, Doc, did you not say that we don't need to borrow and that we just need to toll the roads and the money will flow in? Wah. So why have we borrowed so much with very little to show? And why have we stooped and stopped collecting the road tolls? Please, have you changed your position on taxing Momo? Because, hey, the way it's going there is not good. And that brings me to breaking the, hey, how far? You dey see top? Because debia na tos kakra, donations kakra ni nemu, church service kakra, mosque kakra, shortcutting kakra, commissioning kakra, bibia kakra. Dr. Bawumia, people are asking if you're a Christian now or you're a Muslim. People are asking those questions. And boss, the way we're going about it, I know that you are hopeful, not too confident. Because your trade minister wants to contest. You're a great minister, aka a bunch of plantain is now 4 cities wants to contest. He has not told me which market that we can find that kind of plantain to buy. But I hope, Doc, today you will not be giving His Excellency John Mahama shout-outs. I hope you will not be praising him and be blaming him and be telling us that because of what they left behind, that's why you are facing what you're facing. You have had 6 years, Dr. Bawumia. So we are hoping that what you told us in the past and the promises that you gave us, including some of these promises, every Ghanaian will have a bank account by the end of 2018, will be a reality. And Doc, I want to pick your thoughts about the e-levy quickly. Do you also believe that the e-levy or electronic whatever is an industry? Like the president said at the BBC, that my personal Momo account or my personal bank account, if I decide to use a channel electronically or digitally, is also an industry. We will be following you to Kaswa Millennium City, a very good venue. We'll be listening with rapt attention, Dr. Bawumia. And have you also noticed, Dr. Bawumia, that almost everything that is thrown at this government are things that you said in the past? Are you aware, Dr. Bawumia, that now it appears as if you are on your own and standing alone? Because most of the things you said in the past to bring Nana Danko Akufo-Addo to government, packaged, now they are being used against you. And so now you sparingly talk about things. You talk about nearly everything but the economy. But I'm happy you want to speak about the economy today, Dr. Bawumia. It is a good thing that you want to speak about the economy today. And while you speak about the economy, Doc, I want you to speak about the price of the ball of kinky. I want you to talk about the fuel prices. I want you to talk about cement prices. I want you to talk about the price of iron rods. I want you to talk about the roads. I want you to talk about the cost of living. I want you to talk about rent. I want you to talk about the cost of living and school fees. I want you, Doc, to talk about how free SHS is being managed these days. I want you to talk about the fact that the children can't find food to eat. Doc, I want you to talk about the real work that you were brought into government to do. Because standing behind President Akufo-Addo, he said he has worked with you, he knows what you can do. Now, agree from Dr. Bawumia. So I'm encouraging you, don't let Ghanaians get something to say about you in the month of Ramadan, the holy month of Ramadan, where truth is most expected. Doc, today I encourage you, speak the truth and shame the devil. Good morning.
The Managing Director of the IMF, Christine Lagarde, most of Ghana's borrowing has been used for consumption and not for investment. The overpricing of contracts, corruption, and the absence of value for money considerations are partly responsible for this. Ladies and gentlemen, I saw two identical teachers' bungalows in Dambai Teacher Training College this year. One constructed under the NPP in 2007 and the other under the NDC in 2011. They are side by side.